Okay, class, we're about to start section 4.2, rational exponents. It says here, find the value of 9 to the 1/2 power. Okay, now we have this set up as an equation. X is equal to 9 to the 1/2 power. What we could do on both sides of this equation is take both values to the second power. So we'll take both values to the reciprocal of the power that's connected to 9. X to the first to the second power will give us x to the second power. And it equals to 9 to the 1/2 to the second power will give us 9 to the 1 power, because 1/2 times 2 is 1. So we will have x to the second power is equal to 9. Now, if we took the x to the second power is equal to 9, we know 3 to the second power. We know 3 to the second power is 9, so we'll just have x is equal to 3. So that is what x is equal to 9 to the 1/2 is equal to, which is x equals 3. Now we come here. We have x is equal to 64 to the 1/3 power. We'll take both sides to the third power, because we would make this exponent, we want this exponent to be a whole number, preferably 1. So this will give us x to the third power. 64 to the 1/3 to the third will give us 64 to the first power, or just 64. So we have x to the third power is equal to 64. Now, we know 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So we know our answer is going to be x equals 4. Now, let's just go down here. I want to show you how we got the x equals 4. If we took this x to the third equals 64, we could take the cube root of both sides. And you could put this in your calculator as well. The cube root of x cubed is x, and the cube root of 64 is 4. This is how we got x equals 4 as our answer. Now we come here. Now we're going to take both sides of the equation to the 4th power. So we will have x to the 4th power is equal to 16. Now our next step is we could take the 4th root of both sides, the 4th root of x to the 4th, and the 4th root of 16. The 4th root of x to the 4th will give us x, and the 4th root of 16 will give us 2. So that is our final answer. Now we have a rule here. We have the base taken to the 1 over n power. That is the same as rewriting it as n, the nth root of the base. So it'll be the nth root of b. If you notice here, didn't we end up doing that? When we took this problem here, 16 to the 1/4 ended up becoming the 4th root of 16. So all we did here was we took the n value and put it in as the index of the radical. And we did that here. The nth value, which was 3, and we put that as the index of the radical. Now we scroll down here. It says find the value of 9 to the 3/2 power. Okay, now this basically goes the same way as we did the previous problem. We want to do this. Let's do a little separation here. So 9 to the 3/2 power is the same as 9 to the 1/2 to the third power. Because remember, when you take a power to a power, you multiply. 1/2 times 3 will give you 3/2. Now, this is what we could do next. We will have x is equal to, we know that 9 to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of 9, and that value to the third power. So we have x is equal to 3, and 3 is taken to the third power. X is equal to 27. And that is the final answer. Now there is another way of looking at this that I want you to take a look at. Whenever you're separating the powers here, you could do this. You could take your denominator and make that your radical. We know the denominator 2, the second root, is the same thing as the square root. And the numerator of your fraction will be left outside. if you notice here, matter of fact, taking this example, all we did was we took the numerator of the fraction, put it on the outside, and replaced that with 1 in the numerator. So let's try that here. We had x is equal to, we would take 64 to the 1/3 power, and we'll pull this 2 outside, which is the same thing we did here. We pulled the numerator outside. So this would be x is equal to the cube root of 64 to the 2nd power. The cube root of 64 is 4, and that's taken to the 2nd power. So x is equal to 16. Now we're going to try this again. We would just have 16. We'll remove this numerator and it become 1/4. We'll move the numerator on the outside, which would be 5. So we have x is equal to the 4th root of 16 to the 5th power. So we have x is equal to the 4th root of 16, we know is 2, to the 5th power. And x is 32. Now this rule, what I just told you was this here. When we're rewriting this as radical, we have our parenthesis. And as you all see, this is shifting. So what I'm going to do is you can write this on your notes here, but I have to write it over here so it won't shift. So we'll put our parenthesis, we'll put our nth root. Oh, I guess it is going to shift. Nth root of the base. We'll put it in parentheses, and then it'll be to the m power. Now remember, this right here is a b, but it's shifting. So we have the nth root of b, or the base, to the m power. As a matter of fact, I'll write it down here. Hopefully it won't shift. So we have b to the m over n is equal to the nth root of b, and we'll put that in the parenthesis, taken to the nth power. And that's what goes here. Now we scroll here to the next page. We have here example 1. It says evaluate without using a calculator. We know 144 to the 1/2 power is the same thing as the square root of 144, which we know is 12. Now we add 27 to the 5/3 power. We would separate this. We know that this would end up being the cube root of 27. On the outside, we'll put the 5th power. The cube root of 27 is 3. And we add 3 to the 5th power, which we know is 243. Now see, we add 32 to the negative 4/5 power. So this is what we could do. We could get rid of this negative sign by rewriting this as 1 over 32 to the 4/5 power. So then we will have 1 over the 5th root of 32, or take it to the 4th power. So we'll have 1 over 2 to the 4th power. So this will give us 1 over 16. Now remember, this is a 4. Okay, class, I rewrote this so these 4s would look more like 4s. So we know this is the 5th root of 32, 4 to the 4th power. And the 5th root of 32 is 2, so it'll be 1 over 2 to the 4th power, which is 1 over 16. And this is the final answer. Now we scroll down here to example 2. It said let f of x is equal to 2 times 81 to the x power. Now we know our x power would be what's inside of these parentheses. So it'll be 2 times 81 to the 3/4 power. Now we will rewrite this. This will be 2 times, this will give us the 4th root of 81. in a parenthesis to the third power. Now the fourth root of 81 is 3 to the third power. Now 3 to the third power is 27, and 2 times 27 is 54. Now we come here, same problem. We would substitute in negative 1/2. So we add 2 times 81 to the negative 1/2 power. Now we had 2 times, this would end up becoming 1 over, we could just put this in a parenthesis. This would become 1 over 81 to the 1/2 power, which is equal to 2 times 1 over the square root of 81. Now we know the square root of 81 is 9, so we add 2 times 1/9, which will leave us 2/9. And that is our final answer. Now we scroll down here to example 3, A and B. So we have simplified completely. We have in this bracket parenthesis 4b squared, 4b cubed to the second power, and then b squared c to the 12th, all to the 1/4 power. So first we're going to take care of everything inside of this bracket. So inside the bracket, this parenthesis is squared. So this will give us 16b to the 6th. Because 4 to the second power is 16, b to the third to the second will give us b to the 6th power. Now we go in here, we have b squared c to the 12th. This is all taken to the 1/4 power. Now we will combine, we will add 16, we'll combine the like terms. B to the 6th times b squared will give us b to the 8th, and we'll bring down our c to the 12th. And that's all to the 1/4 power. So now, what we would do next is this here. We could take everything to the 1/4 power. Now remember, this 16 is assumed to be taken to the first power. So this will give us 16 to the 1/4. B to the 8 times 1/4 we know is 2. And we will have C 12 times 1/4 is 3. So now we would take 16 to the 1/4 power, which is the same as the 4th root of 16, times b squared times c cubed. The 4th root of 16 we know is 2, so it'll be 2b squared c cubed. And that is your final answer. Now we go to the last problem, B. Now, okay class, I took the liberty of filling this problem out, so I'm going to talk you through this step by step. Okay, first of all, in your numerator, everything is taken to the 2/3 power. Remember, this 1,000 is really to the first power. So you multiply all of these exponents by 2/3. So you have 1,000 to the 2/3, b to the negative 14 over 3, and c to the 16 over 3. Because here, negative 7 times 2 is negative 14, and that'll be over 3. 8 times 2 is 16, and that would be over 3. In your denominator, everything down here is taken to the 3/5 power. And remember, this 32 is to the first power. So you add 32 to the 3/5. 15 times 3/5 will give you 45 over 3. And 4 times 3/5 will give you 12 over 5. Now we come down here. This 2/3, this 1,000 to the 2/3 becomes the cube root of 1,000 to the second power. This b to the negative 14 over 3, that goes in your denominator as a positive 14 over 3. And the c 16 over 3 stays in your numerator. Now, in your denominator, this 32 to the 3/5 power becomes the 5th root of 32 to the 3rd power. And you still, 45 over 5 is 9. This is where we get the b to the 9th from. So we will have b to the 9th. We brought down this b to the negative 14/3 and made it a positive 14/3. And this c to the 12/5 stays in your denominator. Now the cube root of 1,000 is 10, and the 5th root of 32 is 2.